We saw ourselves the protest, which earlier this week we saw the footage of the sheer number of people that are coming out in Israel in opposition to Benjamin Netanyahu. Go back to Congress this week, right? Back to Washington. Talk about aid to Israel. Pressure from U.S., pressure from Israelis themselves. Is that going to extract flexibility from Benjamin Netanyahu?
Well, first of all, I want to say, this was my first time hearing the statement from the family of that hostage. I mean, that was unbelievably powerful, and just the loss that they are experiencing. And, I think it's important for us to hear these voices from the Israelis about what it is that they want to see, and that the fact that they have these disagreements and these debates, it's important for us to take on board. Certainly in Congress right now, there's a lot of activity, a lot of engagements with the Biden administration about what comes next. But I think what's very clear is just we don't have a sense of what the strategy is going forward. What is it that Netanyahu is trying to accomplish at this point? Yes, we want to see security for the Israelis. We want to see security for the Palestinian people. We want to see the hostages released. But right now, we're not seeing what the strategy is and how they're going to get there.
And it's been 6 months to the day tomorrow that they had the October 7th massacre. It's not just aid to Israel. There's also aid to Ukraine. That is a very real threat to our domestic security as well here in the United States. Do you have any optimism that any of these foreign aid packages are actually going to get across the finish line?
One of the things that just bothers me so much is, like, when I talk to leaders in other countries, what they basically ask is this question of, is America a reliable partner? Oof. And they know the answer to that. They say, you're not reliable, you're not credible. So we can have the largest military in the world, the largest economy in the world, but when we're not seen as reliable, that's when our American leadership is on the decline. And so when they see what happens with Ukraine, when they see that we're not willing to be able to stand with them, when they're not asking for our troops, they're not asking for us to risk our lives, but the fact that we can't stand there with our European partners, it's really it's embarrassing, honestly, and humiliating, and it's something that we need to change to show what it is that we stand for.
And let me be clear, it is unfortunately your Republican colleagues that are standing in the way for getting aid to Ukraine.
Well, a number of my Republican colleagues do actually want to move forward on this. If it went to the House of Representatives floor for a vote, it will pass. It'll pass in large numbers. This is a failure of Speaker Johnson. This is something where we see the cowardice of him, unwilling to be able to stand up to Donald Trump, unwilling to stand up against some of the most extreme elements of his party and do the right thing for our national security. Someone who worked in diplomacy before, I always said the last place that partisan politics belongs is in our national security. And unfortunately, it's injected right into the heart of what Speaker Johnson's trying to do, and it's hurting our national interests.
Congressman, there is a photo of you that is, in my mind, iconic. It is one of the most memorable from January 6th. In the early morning hours after that failed insurrection, you spent more than 90 minutes, almost 2 hours, kneeling, picking up the trash that was left by the rioters. One of the statements you made is you said, "I feel blessed to have this opportunity as a son of immigrants to be able to serve in Congress." And yet the hallowed halls ended up like that on 1/6. I wanted your thoughts about how it feels to be a first-hand witness to January 6th, the aftermath, and the fact that Donald Trump still hasn't gone to trial yet for his role in the January 6th insurrection.
Yeah, well, thank you for raising it in the way that you did. You're right. I'm a son of immigrants.
Yeah.
My parents, my mom and my dad, came to this country 50 years ago to this year. And it was my parents that brought me to the United States Capitol for the very first time when I was a child. They taught me to love and respect that building. They taught me to revere what it stands for as a temple of our democracy. And so, when I did what I did in cleaning the Capitol on the night of January 6th, I didn't think about it. It was just muscle memory. It was just instinct of what my parents taught me about how grateful we are for being in this country and the opportunities. And the fact that that is now, disgraced. I always say, the Capitol is a physical manifestation of Article 1 of our Constitution. So to defile and disgrace that building is to defile and disgrace our Constitution. And the fact is look, that what we saw on January 6th, it wasn't just about one person. You know, and Donald Trump it was certainly someone that instigated it, and we see him back on the ballot. But we have real problems deep to the bone in this country, and the fact that Donald Trump's back on, it's scary in terms of what comes next. And I'm a father of a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I don't want them to grow up in this broken America that we see right now. So I hope to be able to fix it, but we have to be able to win these elections this coming November.
And we hope that you'll be able to fix it because you're running for the United States Senate. You made history in 2018, the first Asian American elected to Congress from the state of New Jersey. You're running for the United States Senate seat. Talk about how you want to translate the culmination of an American dream and your hard work in the United States Senate.
Yeah, well, you know, my parents taught me, they said a line that service isn't just a job, it's a way of life. They told me, you know, it's not just something you do 9 to 5, you hang it on up. So, you know, I've dedicated every minute of my career to serving this country, and I hope to serve this country for every minute of the rest of my career. And you're right, I'm stepping up to run for the United States Senate now. I have a real opportunity to be able to do that. I would be the first Korean American ever in the Senate. I'd be the first Asian American ever elected to the U.S. Senate from the entire East Coast of America. But that being said, you know, I think in general there's a hunger for a new generation of leadership to step up. And someone, you know, like myself that comes with experience in national security and foreign policy to be able to step into this moment of such, you know, historic chaos and conflicts and crises that are out there. So I'm excited about this opportunity. I hope the voters of New Jersey give me a chance to be able to serve the state that has raised me and where I'm raising my 2 boys now. And I just can't even imagine what it would be like if I can step onto the floor of the Senate and be able to represent not just my state, but, you know, as you said, the story, and show my story is not just a Korean American or an Asian American story, but it is fundamentally an American story. And I hope to be able to have that chance.
Well, for what it's worth, I am very proud of you, and I am proud for what you represent for my Korean American community and for the AAPI community at large. But you're right, as an American and a fellow American, I'm proud of you for being somebody who represents our values. So thank you for being here, Congressman Kim.
Thank you for having me.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.